Good evening. I'd like to call this meeting of the Wilson County Board of Education to order. Members of the board, before we approve the agenda, I need to have a couple of additions made. Under the under the Administrative Services Committee, I'd like for you to add under the information items a board notification regarding external buildings at Springfield and Pike. Is that correct, Mr.?
Well, I think there's some interior work.
All right. And under action items, if you would add approval of a roofing project contracts. Also, if at the end of the Instructional Services Committee report, you would add an action item for a recommendation regarding Dr. Mills. And
action item for human resources. We put it.
Right. Members of the board, Mr. Mercer has asked that Mr. Mercer, Mr. Barber.
The new and improved.
It's the second time I've done that today.
Give me a quarter. Give me a quarter.
I owe both of them a quarter. Okay. That we move those draft policies that are listed under human resources to the draft policies that come under the Instructional Services Committee, so that we can handle all of the draft policies. They're all second readings, so that we can address them all at the same time. Is there anything else that we need to add or delete from the agenda at this point in time? Hearing none, the chair will entertain a motion in regard to the amended agenda.
Madam Chair,
Mrs. Powell.
I move we approve the agenda for tonight's meeting, April 15, 2019, with the additions and the changes.
Second.
It has been moved and properly seconded that we approve the agenda with the stated additions and changes. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion, let it be known by the sign of aye. Aye. Those opposed, nay. Let the record reflect that the motion carries unanimously. Mr. Mercer and will lead the Pledge of Allegiance, followed by a moment of silence, and if the audience would join us, please.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Members of the board, you have your minutes that will need approval. We have minutes of March 18th, which was our regular board meeting, March 25th, which was our budget work session, and April the 8th, which was a special board meeting. The chair will entertain a motion in regard to the approval of the minutes for each of those meetings as stated.
Madam Chair,
Mrs. Barnes.
I move for the approval of the minutes of March 18, 2019, our regular board meeting, March 25th, 2019, our work session, and the minutes of April 8, 2019, our special board meeting.
It has been moved and properly seconded that we approve the minutes of March 18th, our regular board meeting, March 25th, our budget work session, and April 8th, our special board meeting. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion, let it be known by the sign of aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, let the record reflect that the motion carries unanimously. Mr. Mercer, if you would assist Dr. Mills in the good news presentation this evening.
Board members, audience members, at this time, if I could ask the following principals to come forward: Claudia Spencer, Mr. Jagtar Singh, and Marcus Spell. Come forward, please. Come on through. Slide on down to the middle. Jagtar. Oh, this is bad. Okay. Tonight we want to congratulate these three principals. If they don't embarrass themselves too much up front and set the example. Ms. Spencer from Winstead Elementary School, Mr. Singh from Dart Middle School, and Mr. Spell from Springfield Middle School for completing the Distinguished Leadership and Practice Program. This is a rigorous year-long leadership program through the North Carolina Principals and Assistant Principals Association. They have worked really hard this year. Truly they have. They'll tell you this is not just idle words. Aside from recognizing them tonight for all their hard work and dedication, I also recognize them at the March Administrators meeting, which they were really happy about because they were presented with a pack of bacon from Smithfield Foods for our monthly Bringing Home the Bacon Award. I'm very thankful for their leadership and commitment to their schools, and we're proud of their development and their participation because they bring it back and share it with others, and you can see the impact in their schools. So I'm very proud of them and very appreciative, and congratulations. If someone would just take a picture and post it to Instagram for Mr. Spellkin, I'd be really happy. And if there's anybody you'd like to recognize as well while you're here. Anyone? No. Okay.
My kids are tagging along with me right now, 2 of them, Nathan and Emma. That's probably
now they're adequately embarrassed. You can move on. So I'm pardoned to have to do this, but I know there's been some change in plans for a few folks tonight due to illness. But is there anyone here representing the Fike High School Family and Consumer Science Program? Okay, I'm going to move that to next month. I thought so. I'll share more about that next month. At this time, I'm very excited to share with you about the participants and the prospective teacher internship program. And so when I call your name, please come forward and remain up front. And you're probably going to want to start at the wall across because this is going to be a really big group. So Elliot Haynes is paired with Wells Elementary teacher Miranda Walls. Lexi Hopwood and Shaquana Willingham from Fike. They're paired with Wells Elementary teacher Kristen Sexton. Alexis Perry from Fike is paired with Wells Elementary teacher Tina McMichael. I saw them tonight. Sarah Bunn from Hunt, who's paired with Lucalma Elementary teacher Morgan Willis. My folks set up things. Alberti Jones from Hunt, who's paired with Vincent Bynum Elementary teacher Pam Curry. Okay. Hope Wynn from Hunt, paired with Springfield Middle teacher Amy Burnsworth Wood. That's Hope. Good help's hard to find, Hope. I'm sorry. We do the best we can, Mr. Farmer. That's all I know to do.
All I need is a good leader.
Mr. Farmer. He missed it, didn't he? Yeah.
I didn't miss that. You'll play later.
Kaylee Ramirez from Hunt, who's paired with Springfield Middle teacher Sherema Spade. I saw Miss Spade. Mary Vick from Hunt, who's paired with Vincent Bynum Elementary teacher Sarah Ramos. Nicholas Tu from Hunt, who's paired with Jones Elementary teacher Christine Gilmore. So Miss Gilmore. Christine. And Logan Hennett from Hunt, who's paired with Rock Ridge Elementary teacher Renee Bunn. I saw Miss Bunn in the back too. And Logan. Hey, Miss Renee. Now that we got everybody up here, let me see if I can go through this so I can explain why it's so important you're up here. The Wilson County Schools Career and Technical Education Department developed and implemented a prospective teacher internship program this year. All these students are seniors and expressed an interest in pursuing education as a profession, for which we are deeply grateful, and we have contingency contracts ready to go when we're finished, okay? They were placed with teachers to serve as their mentors. They observe instruction and work with small groups of students. The goal of the program is to support these seniors as they work to become educators. I also hope they will come back to Wilson as teachers after they graduate from college. So, I'm so proud of each of you, and we're so glad you're here to be a part of this. I want to commend these amazing teachers. These are some important people up here as well. They are some of our best, and I truly appreciate them modeling their expertise. I also want to thank Director of Secondary Education David Linden, Work-Based Learning Coordinator Jimmy Lucas, and Career Development Counselors Kelly Lindsay, Michelle Graybill, and Jean Hall for their leadership. So congratulations. We're really glad you're a part of things. We look forward to having you back. And teachers, thank you for all the hard work and the extra you did to support these folks as they consider education profession. It's really important. Thank you very much. Now's the time when you want to take pictures, Mom and Dad and everyone else. We'll get one shot at this lineup. And I'll start at the other end. If we would like to recognize anyone with you in attendance? No? Okay. Don't have to. Don't have to. Anyone? Okay. Hope? Dad? Mary?
My parents, Miss Lewis, Miss Shelton, Miss Daniels, Tom Rockridge, and Miss Bynum, for being so welcoming.
Excellent. Logan?
My parents are here. And my brother.
That's always the way it is. And my brother. Yeah. All right. Now get your pictures. Congratulations. And in the area of character education tonight, I'd like to recognize Ashley Ward, a sophomore at Hunt High School. Oh, you're right behind me.
Thank you.
Let me tell you a little bit about Ashley and why we're recognizing her tonight. This is neat. Ashley was selected to attend the Disney Dreamers Academy in March, which is a huge accomplishment. She was one of 100 students from across the nation selected for this incredible experience. Ashley received an all-expenses-paid trip to Walt Disney World to participate in the 4-day program. She attended career workshops and heard from TV personalities. Ashley's acceptance was based on her response to several essay questions, one of which focused on her dreams. Ashley wrote about her goal to work in the medical field in order to help others live more productive lives. I know this was a life-changing experience for Ashley, and I'm thrilled she got to be a part of this. We'd like to hear all about it, but I know time for dreams. I have no doubt that she will work hard to make all of her dreams come true and that she has a bright future ahead of her. So we have a $25 gift card for you from Schwartz & Shaw. Thank them for their support. For our students to recognize for good character. Is there anybody you'd like to recognize for you?
And my dad, he's at home. He's still on the couch, but...
And Mr. Dahl, your principal's over there as well, so he snuck in. So, well, we all understand how that couch is, and that's still a good thing. Thank you. Congratulations.
While Dr. Mills comes to his seat, I'd like to thank him for flubbing up tonight. Since I called Mr. Farmer Mr. Mercer twice, you kindly called Mr. Mercer Mr. Farmer. No,
I did it on purpose for you.
Yeah.
I'll get even on purpose.
All right. Now for the chairman's report. First and foremost, Smart Cookies. I thank Mr. Breen for attending Smart Cookies at Vincent Bynum on March the 21st with the class of Wendy Watson. We did not have anyone to attend the Smart Cookies at Wells on April the 2nd with Ms. Harris because many of us were at a conference, but we know that it was a great event, and we thank Dr. Mills for moving on anyway. Now we have 3 more Smart Cookies for the rest of the year. Volunteers are needed. May 1st at Winsted, with the class of Krishanda McCoy Artists at 2 o'clock. May 7th at Rock Ridge with the class of Elizabeth Willoughby at 2 o'clock. And May 21st at Stantonsburg with the class of Kimberly Barnes at 2 o'clock. And as always, we thank Chick-fil-A for partnering with us on this initiative. Do we have any takers for May 1st, 7th, or 21st?
21st.
Ms. Barnes?
7.
Wait a minute. 21st, Ms. Barnes? You want Stantonsburg?
Yes.
Who had first?
I'll take it.
Mr. Farmer, you're at Winstead. Oh, yes. We need to change May 1st because of action we're going to take later. So we will reschedule that one. And May 7th at Rock Ridge,
Ms. Powell.
Ms. Powell.
Ms. Boyette's allowed me to have that. Maybe Ms. Boyette.
I was wondering about that.
I'll tag along.
She's gonna be here.
That's fine. That's fine.
All right. All
We can
right.
go there.
So we thank you all for that. I'd like to congratulate WEP for 2 successful events. Since we last met, they had In Harmony with performances by our students, and they just recently had the Boots and Bow Ties event. And I'd especially like to thank WEP because they helped to showcase the students from our family and consumer science program who provided cupcakes and sweets, and to the Bedingfield Culinary Arts program who did all of the other, who did the fruit trays, veggie trays, and other food products. This gives our students a real-life experience in terms of catering, and some of our students will be going into the catering field, so we thank them for those hands-on experiences that are provided, and we thank the leadership at those schools for the awesome job that they are doing in preparing the students. I would like to congratulate also the students who participated in the 4-H show and sale last month. I thank Mrs. Boyette for stepping in to bring remarks on behalf of the board at their annual banquet. The 4-H show is one of the best in the state and probably in the country from what I hear. The students have good participation. The community and the businesses support them extremely well, and the students are able to earn money for scholarships through their endeavors with the pigs, with the cows, and the other projects that they have. So we congratulate each of those students for a job well done. We'd like to extend thanks to the Wilson Arts Council and others for having brought the New York Ballet for the 2nd time to our 4th graders. That is an absolutely awesome opportunity for our students to have their horizons broadened, to have a chance to hear conversation from the participants from the ballet theater so that they can share their thoughts and ideas as to where they were when they were in school, and can influence the students to reach for higher heights and to pursue other options that may be available to them. I would like to check off my list. Recognize Mr. Rick Walthall. This will be his last, if I'm not mistaken, board meeting with us. We appreciate all the work that you have done in HR and helping us to provide employees for our system. As you retire, we wish you all of the best, and don't be a stranger. Thank you.
Opportunity.
As the room clears out, I'd like to take this opportunity to welcome Dr. Parker Dr. Norris Parker, who is joining our Wilson County Schools family as our Assistant Superintendent in HR. We also welcome with him his wife this evening, Judge Parker, who is Chief District Court Judge in Clemens County, is it? No. Martin County. You heard it. Martin, Washington, Terrell, Hyde, and Beaufort. Thank you. We welcome you. We look forward to working with you, Dr. Parker. And thank you for coming to be introduced to the board and to our community this evening. And you are being introduced to the community because our board meeting is being televised. So I'm sure that your picture is being picked up and the community will get to meet you more. And it's spring break time. And I know that everybody in the system is appreciative of spring break. It is time for renewal, rest, relaxation. This has been a long year. It's been a hard year, and we have more to go. And so hopefully everybody will have a safe and enjoyable time, but will also come back to us rested, prepared for the final stretch, which includes our end of course, end of grade test. And so we wish everybody an enjoyable spring break. I think we shut down totally, don't we?
Yes, ma'am, we do.
So after Thursday afternoon at the bewitching hour of 5 o'clock, you'll only get a no response.
We'll still be working on Friday.
On Friday,
okay. But after that.
After then, yeah. All right. Enjoy. And that concludes the chairman's report. Dr. Mills.
Dr. Fitch, board members, audience members, a couple of things that Dr. Fitch covered I'm going to move from my list. But as a review, the In Harmony Collaborative Concert was held March 22nd. And the high school chorus students, teachers, and choreographer Amanda Bennett, who's the dance instructor Hunt, they did a great job this year. We're thankful to the WEP for their support of this fundraiser each year. So that's another one we've gotten completed. We had two very positive stories on that were covered by WREL out of Raleigh recently. I wanted to spotlight those. The first was about the gentleman's agreement at Hearn Elementary School. As you know, this program supports African American males and surrounds the students with mentors who guide them in becoming men of character. The program has traditionally been in our middle and high schools, but Hearn and Wells Elementary Schools now have programs. And that was featured on REL. And they also covered the Wilson Academy of Applied Technology, WAT, in its TechWire publication. The article focused on WAT's commitment to preparing students to graduate and find local careers that are STEM related. And so those were two I wanted to just remind you of, that we were appreciative of the coverage. Another reminder is that we launched the Wilson County Schools mobile app that's free to download on your phone and devices for free. We've had about 1,000 people who have downloaded the app so far since we announced it, which is pretty good considering a month ago we just talked about it. So it's 1,000 down. We certainly want more. Through the app you can get the latest news, resources, and receive push notifications. Because as we know, everyone takes their phones with them everywhere. So to download, go to the App Store and search Wilson County Schools, North Carolina. Remember, there's another one in Tennessee that we tend to get some phone calls for occasionally. I'd also like to recognize Norris and Regina for being part of our family and being part of things here today. And we're glad to have them here. Welcome to part of Wilson County Schools family. We're looking forward to them getting started as part of our team. And I know Norris will hit the ground running very soon. Dr. Parker, congratulations. We're glad to have you here. Upcoming events are always busy this time of year. So just a couple of reminders for parents who are interested in Spanish immersion for their incoming kindergartner or rising first grader. There's an information session that's scheduled for tomorrow, April 16th, from 5 to 6 at Frederick Douglass Elementary. So, rising first graders or kindergartners, 5 to 6 tomorrow. I will repeat what Dr. Fitch said. Spring break is next week, and we are very thankful for that. It is time for spring break. So Additional schools will begin April 19th for the workday and continue all next week. Our early colleges had their spring break already, so don't feel bad for them because they will be working next week in the school this time, but they've already had theirs. And so we want to wish everyone a safe and relaxing break and come back recharged and safe from their travels and time away. Budget presentation to the county commissioners is May 7th at 7 p.m. And that's at the commissioners building, county office. Teacher Appreciation Week is coming up when we get back. That's May 6th to the 10th. High School Awards Day. You know it's almost the end of the year when we're talking about all these, so get your calendars ready. High School Awards Day is May 3rd for WECA. May 3rd at 10:30 a.m. That's WECA. Betting Fields is May 17th at 8:30 a.m. Fight is May 20th at 8 a.m. And Hunt is May 21st at 8:30. So let me go through those again. High School Awards Day. WECA, May 3rd at 10:30. Betting Field, May 17th at 8:30. Fights, May 20th at 8. And Hunts is May 21st at 8:30. So those are awards day. Hard to believe it, but it is that time again. WECA has 2 graduations and ceremonies in May. Not to be outdone, 2 of them. Both are at Fike. And WECA's high school graduation is May 16th at 7 p.m. in the Fike Auditorium. May 16th at 7. And there's Wilson Community College graduation for WECA is May 17th at 6 p.m. Please don't ask me to repeat that because I'll probably invert it.
We'll just remind the board members that they have a calendar that Mrs. Thorson has prepared.
It is
all
on
of
there.
these dates, places, and times are on the calendar. So, judge accordingly.
And last but not least, save the date of May 21st at 6 p.m. at Jones Elementary for the Teacher and Principal of the Year celebration. May 21st, 6 p.m. at Jones. Teacher of the Year and Principal of the Year celebration. Okay? Madam Chair, that's all the information I have.
Thank you.
Excuse me, Dr. Mills, I'm sorry. Is Special Olympics this Thursday?
I don't know.
Special Olympics.
Let me see if it's on this one.
Excuse me, I'm sorry.
It's all right.
I'll have to check. I don't have it on my calendar.
It's usually in April.
We'll find out in a second.
I do need to step back for just a second, and she's not here, and that's why it didn't trigger a bell. But I would like to thank Dr. Wanda Dawson for having come in as our interim assistant superintendent for HR, having done an outstanding job. So in absentia, I thank her for her hard work with us, and we appreciate her. She did hit the job running, hit the ground running. So
She'll be back next month and for at least the next 2 meetings to finish up. She's at personnel conference right now.
Correct.
And so she's checked in several times today with some good information, so she'll be back with us.
Okay.
And she'll be part of the transition with Dr. Parker as well.
All right.
And I will find out about Special Olympics.
I'll just take you.
18. I can have it now.
18th of April is Special Olympics, usually held at Hunt. And while we're sharing on these timelines, I received a phone call this afternoon from Ramona Powell at NCSBA making a request, and I told her that I would pass it on to you, Dr. Mills, and the board, requesting a presentation at the summer training conference that NCSBA hosts for Gentlemen's Agreement. So, and as that program continues to expand and you have more information that you can share with other board members from across the state, and the future plans that on the drawing board, both for the Gentlemen's Agreement and, if I'm not out of order, for Pride, which is a girls' component.
We received that this afternoon. And I think Linda was trying to reach Mr. Barnes to go ahead and work on schedules to let Ramona know with
Okay.
the School Board Association. I think there's just a hand, there's only 3 districts I think they've asked to be a part of it on that last day. So we're real grateful.
Thank you so much. Next on our agenda is the public input section of our agenda. No one has signed up to address us tonight, so we will move forward with the I'm handing a note that if there's anybody left who wants to leave at this point in time, you feel free. But
I have another standing ovation.
that's fine. You're free. Thank you so much. No, it does not apply to the board. You're here. So we're now at the committee reports section. The Administrative Services Committee, Mr. Mercer.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
You're welcome.
We have 3 information items and 3 action items. We met this afternoon and had quite a discussion. The first information item is a request for Wilson Area School-Based Health Clinic, WASH, signage at Beddingfield High School. And the discussion led us to being, and I think looking at the sign that's in your handout, and it was after discussion, it was decided that we would prefer not putting it on the building itself, but putting it either on posts nearby or in some other way. And I also think that maintenance, Mr. Letchworth or Dr. Mills, we're going to try to find a good placement and put it there, and the next meeting bring us some pictures to see if it we had any further recommendations.
That's correct.
Committee members, any other comments regarding that you can think of? Our second item was the community eligibility provision, CEP program in Wilson County Schools. Now, Dr. Wilson, I'm going to try to put it in a nutshell, and then you add whatever you think I need to. But the concern and the effort here is, in the last few years, certainly last year, schools identified the percent of eligibility on a direct certification, which meant that instead of free and reduced lunch measurements for identifying percent and low-income families, it was used other agencies that offered help could verify that they were low income because of their services, and those numbers is what was identified. Well, it appears that they're under-identified because some families that would be approved for reduced or free lunch were not identified through that process. So there was discussion about using a paper pen method for identifying, which would be the same as the application for free or reduced lunch. A school has to reach a 40% to be eligible and 75% to be required to be included in funds, I think, if that's correct. Now, where I'd like for you to help is, in a following committee meeting, there was some discussion about, and which I think may affect this, because the intent was to try to correctly identify the percentages of low income. That might not serve us well this year. So, Dr. Wilson, could you put some sense to that for us?
Do my best.
The current groupings that we have for the 18-19 year, we have two separate groups. The first group that's on the purple sheet, we reached the 100% mark, which means that we are breaking even because those schools are added together, and CEP is serving us well in that group. However, the second group, or the group B, when we take the free and reduced lunch or the free status based on the government assistance number and then multiply that times 1.6%, some of the schools in that second grouping, as well as one school in the first grouping, are not making it at the 100% level. And as a result of that, then we have this second grouping. It is costing us money for that group to be together. And so, therefore, we talked about some of the ways that we could handle that is to do the paper pencil or the paper pen to try to increase some of those numbers, because there will be some, if we took away the CEP status, there would be some students who may not be served. We would need to go back to that method. So then there was a paper that had 6 schools listed on it for the proposed CEP grouping. And when all 6 of those schools have a percentage of 100% or higher. In the next committee meeting, the instructional services, we talked about the Title I status. And if we use those numbers for the directly certified, then there are some schools that would possibly be off of the Title I funding. So then discussion then went towards adding a school to the CEP proposed grouping. Is that okay?
Yes, ma'am. Anyone else? And we'll get to that in the next committee in detail about where to go with that. Any committee members wish to add anything? Okay, the third information item was dealt with the board being notified that there was a request at Springfield Middle School to build an outside building at no cost to the school system, and also meet all the permits and requirements of the county and school system. Also, they were notified that they were going to use remaining funds of QZAB to change AC units at Pike High School, which are funds I think that are now available and need to be used in a timely manner. And I think that was restricted to inside and a time. Any questions or comments about that? Now, the first action item is in regards to the local current expense and capital outlay budgets, which we've discussed in a work session and are aware of. So it's a matter of officially, I think, approving the recommendation of that budget, those budgets. Any committee members wish to comment? So on that, since the board has already discussed it at a prior meeting, on behalf of the Administrative Services Committee, I move the full board approve the local current expense budget and the capital outlay budget as presented by administration.
It has been moved and properly seconded that the board approve the 2019-2020 local current expense and capital outlay budgets. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion, let it be known by the sign of aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. Let the record reflect that the motion carries unanimously. Mr.
And-
Mercer?
And I might add that that's being presented to the county commissioners on May the 7th at 7 o'clock. And all cheerleaders in support would be welcome. The second action item is an audit report for the 2017-18 year. And it was quite interesting. We got, I thought, was a good explanation and lesson on the budgets and the processes. But without being willing or able to go back through all that was shared with us, the bottom line is we not only got a clean audit, but it was one of the best audits that they had encountered, which is something to be said for Ms. Evans and Dr. Mills and the administrative team. Any comments or questions the committee members would like to make? We're hearing none. On behalf of the Administrative Services Committee, Madam Chair, I move the full board approve the audit report by Carr, Riggs, and Ingram for Wilson County Schools covering the 2017-18 year.
It has been moved and properly seconded that the board approve the 2017-2018 audit report as provided by Carr, Riggs, and Ingram. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion, let it be known by the sign of aye. Aye. Those opposed, nay. Let the record reflect that the motion carries unanimously.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Our third was action item is requesting the approval of roofing projects and contracts. The roofing project is the auditorium at Vic and the transportation, and also some of the soundproofing or acoustics in the auditorium at Vic. And this was a bid process, and the bid was by AAR. You find the summary of those bids in your package. It was for $506,900 as a base bid for all of both schools. And the committee was in favor of those projects. So is there any further discussion for committee members? Hearing none. Madam Chair,
yes.
On behalf of the Administrative Services Committee, I move the full board approve the base bid of AAR for the transportation and Vic Elementary roofing projects as recommended by administration.
Is there a second?
Second.
It has been moved and properly seconded that we approve the base bid of $506,900 by AARNC Incorporated for roofing at transportation building, Vic Auditorium, as well as the acoustical repair at Vic Auditorium. Is there any discussion?
Madam Chair, is that pending attorney review?
Yes, I'm sorry. That is pending attorney review.
All right.
Do I need to amend that or restate it?
No, we will accept that.
Thank you.
All in favor of the motion, let it be known by the sign of aye. Aye. Those opposed, nay. Let the record reflect that the motion carries unanimously.
Thank you, Ms. Powell, for helping me with that. And that concludes my report.
All right, thank you very much. The Instructional Services Committee met this afternoon, and we had 3 informational items, and there are 15 action items for our consideration. Those 15, as well as those are the draft policies, along with action items from North Carolina Association of Educators Teacher Rally, Spanish Immersion Program, and Title I. school eligibility. So I'll begin with the informational items. I will then turn it over to Mr. Mercer for motions that I will make on behalf of the committee. The first informational item was regarding a memorandum of understanding between Wilson County Schools and Wilson Community College, Early College, as well as WAT, the Wilson Applied Academy of Technology. We have been fortunate to be partnered with the community college, and there's no problem that has emerged, but we are currently trying to ensure that as players change, whether it's at the community college level or here on the Board of Education, that there is a understanding in place. We were presented with the draft policy for the early college in Watt Academy new memorandum of understanding, as well as a draft of the Career and College Promise memorandum of understanding. With the discussion that ensued, the major points of the move were agreed to or accepted. There was a request that the first component on the memorandum of understanding for the early college and Watt Academy be that there be consistency in timelines, as the memorandum of understanding for the Career and College Promise move was a 5-year span, where it was only a 1-year span for the early college and Watt Academy. So the committee had asked that there be consistency in terms for those understandings going forward. We talked about the numbers of students. We talked about fees for the students. So there were various and sundry components of the move that were presented and accepted in draft concept. So we look forward to that move coming back to us with necessary changes that have been requested. Any comments or questions or discussion? The second under the informational items was for USDA Rural Development Distance Learning and Telecommunications Grant. As you remember, we have, through the generosity of the Medical Foundation, the Hospital Foundation, acquired a grant writer. And she is hard at work already, working on this particular grant application. Now the application, though it talks about telecommunications, telecommunications, there were two sides that could be applied for. One dealt with opioids and telemedicine, and the second dealt with STEM. She has indicated that she will possibly work with the opioid and the telecommunications component at a later date, but at this phase of the process, the focus is on STEM and projects and linking it to teachers to technology, because there are some courses where we may not be able to have enough teachers, so that we could possibly have one teacher who may be certified, and that person would be able to have telecommunications with other sites. We are looking at 5 sites for this particular grant. They are at the high schools and they are at the middle schools. So the focus for this particular would be Springfield Middle, Battlefield High, Spate Middle, Hunt High, and Elm City Middle. They outlined the initiatives that would be worked on within the top 5 schools, as well as the enrichment possibilities. We asked that in preparing the grant application that we give consideration to after-school programs, utilization for some of the STEM activities through the clubs and the like. But we also ask that because all of our homes are not equipped with access to the internet, that be included in that proposal options that would allow those students without that access to be able to have access. A few other points, but we look forward to that grant application being completed and submitted, and we really look forward to hopefully having that application funded. There will be a 15% match that is required, but that match could be spread out over 3 years. And we're not sure, but we're going to inquire as to whether or not those matching, the 15% match, can be inclusive of in-kind services. So we look forward to that completion as we move forward. Next was the action items. I'm sorry, are there any questions in regard to that grant process? So moving into the action items. The first on the agenda was the North Carolina Association of Educators, NCAE, a teacher rally. It's been brought to our attention that on the 1st of May, and that's the reason why the small group is scheduled for May 1st will need to be rescheduled. The teacher rally is going to occur, and last year we faced the same issue with the rally that occurred. We ended up having the decision that we would have a teacher work day because of the number of teachers who indicated they would not be in our schools, the required number of substitutes that we would have to cover those absences, and the fact that that becomes possibly a safety issue if you have a lot of substitutes and there's not the constancy or consistency to make sure that everything is in place for the safety of the students, because some of the substitutes may not be familiar with all of the procedures that go on within the school to the point of being responsible for everybody. Because of that, the discussion was held as to how we would proceed this year. I have volunteered to write a letter to the NCAE, to the local chapter, as well as to the branch of the Retired Teachers Association, indicating that with, and even though we are very supportive of our teachers, that at this point in time in the school year, having to face this obstacle every year, since this would be the second year that they have done that, of trying to make sure we can work together cooperatively so that as we plan schedules, we can possibly build in a teacher work day so that we're not having to scramble at this late time of the year. We're fortunate because as the weather conditions occurred at the first of the year, we were granted 4 days waiver. We have built-in hours, and we do have enough hours to be able to cover moving May 1st to a optional teacher work day as opposed to an instructional day. The concern is we lose instructional time when these rallies occur. So it is the recommendation of the Instructional Services Committee to the full board. Therefore, I move that we have May 1st become an optional teacher work day. That we have that become an optional teacher work day, and that we provide, as we did last year, sites for meals for the students who ordinarily being in school would have access to breakfast and lunch. Therefore, I move, Mr. Vice Chair, that the board adopt the recommendation to change May 1st to the optional teacher workday, and that we provide food service at 6 locations to be determined by the administration that would be central to allow our students to have access to food.
It's been moved properly seconded that to accommodate the rally that we established May the 1st as an optional teacher work day, and at 6 sites to be determined by administration to be kind of centralized to feed students that normally would have been able to eat at school. Did I properly cover that?
Yes, sir.
Now it's been, is there any further conversation or discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, like sign. It carries unanimously.
The next item on the agenda was Title I school eligibility. We had a long conversation about the eligibility, and it got back into the issue that you just dealt with in your committee, sir, the Administrative Services Committee, with CEP, with the Title I criteria, a request because we have direct certification, but an opportunity because we have been inclusive of all of the schools having, at least elementary, having free and reduced lunch. Everybody has not had the opportunity to fill out the free and reduced lunch applications, and that being part of the criteria to determine our percentages that we would need in order to have our students or our schools become Title I or remain Title I. With the loss of Title I designation would result in a loss of federal dollars, which impacts the programs and the opportunities for instruction that we have for our students. Following that discussion, it was the recommendation of the Instructional Services Committee that we table this action because we have a little more time, that we ask the administration to go back to provide further clarity and definition as to how we can better meet criteria and get data in order to be able to make sure that we can positively affect our schools in their Title I designations. Therefore, Mr. Vice Chair, I move on behalf of the Instructional Services Committee that we table this item until the May board meeting to allow the administration to give us further information.
It's been moved properly seconded that the Title I eligibility be tabled until our next month's meeting. Any further discussion or questions? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, like sign. It carries unanimously.
The next item was Spanish immersion. At the last board meeting, it was the decision of the board to expand the Spanish immersion program to 5th grade. We did ask for numbers in terms of kindergarten registration. I believe we were informed today that there were 28 students who have, or families that have expressed an interest in signing their children into the program. All of them have not made application as of yet. but we did expand the program to 5th grade. The issue that came before us in regards to that was transportation. The administration was asked to go back, look at the transportation issues, to bring forward to the board options for transportation. They presented us with 4 options. The 4 options being the current bus transportation option. The second option would be a reassignment special programs, which would mean that transportation would not be provided because our current policy allow for transportation in terms of schools, so that we have Watt and we have early college, WECA, that have transportation provided, but that the Spanish immersion would be a program and not a school, so that that option recommendation would be that there be no transportation provided. Option 3 would be a shuttle bus that would increase the opportunity for students to participate by allowing the riders the Spanish immersion students to ride their base school buses, and that there be shuttle buses. We make sure that any incoming students within the Frederick Douglass rider area be included, and that students from Wales and Hearn could be shuttled who arrive by car or by walking. And the 4th option was also a shuttle bus that would again have transportation arranged for families where the children either driven to Wales or Hearn or who walk. And the issue and conversation focused on arrival times. Also in option 1, there was a discussion in terms of parents who do not pick up their students in a timely manner after they have been delivered to their base schools from their existing route. And there were options that were placed in consideration in terms of consequences for not arriving that would be worked out by the administration. It was the recommendation of the Instructional Services Committee that option 1, the current transportation, bus transportation option, be continued by the system. Therefore, Mr. Vice Chairman, on behalf of the Instructional Services Committee, I move that option 1 for transportation for 2019-20 for Spanish immersion students be continued.
It's been moved and properly second that option 1 for transportation for Spanish immersion be continued for the school year 2019-20. Any further discussion or questions? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, like sign.
Nay.
Or we have one
Opposition.
Opposed.
The next item on our agenda are draft policies. With us moving the policies that are listed on the agenda being moved to this particular segment, there are 15 policies that are coming before us. Each of them is a second read. You have those policies before you. You've had a chance to look at them. At the committee meeting, with all members of the board in attendance, there were not any changes that were noted. It was felt that the changes that were asked for had been included within the policies. Therefore, Mr. Vice Chair, I would like to move the approval of the 15 policies as found on your agenda be approved as a second read, and that the necessary older policies be removed as requested.
It's been moved and properly seconded that 15 policy drafts be approved as presented, and also the removal of any policies that they replace. Any further discussion or questions? I did want to point out that the 15 include those for your committee, and also the 6 that were listed under human resources. Just to make sure it's clear. Any further discussion or questions? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, like sign. It carries unanimously.
Thank you. We added to the agenda one item, the North Carolina School Administrators and the North Carolina School Boards Association have issued a call for nominations for Superintendent of the Year. Members of the board, I gave each of you a packet of information in regard to that nomination process. I think the deadline for that nomination is May the 31st. What is your pleasure?
Madam Chair,
Mrs. Boyer?
I would like to move that we nominate our Superintendent, Dr. Lane Mills, for the Central Carolina Regional Superintendent of the Year in light of Wilson County's outstanding growth and performance over the past year.
Second. Second is required.
It has been moved and properly seconded that the Wilson County Board of Education nominate Dr. Lane Mills for the Central Carolina Regional Superintendent of the Year for the outstanding growth as shown by Wilson County Schools over the last 2 years. Is there any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor of the motion, let it be known by the sign of aye. Aye. Those opposed, nay. Let the record reflect that the motion carries unanimously. Mr. Palmer.
Madam Chairman, I move Wilson County Board of Education to go into closed session to present a confidential personnel matters provided in North Carolina County Statute 143-318. 111A1 and 6 and 115C-319 through 321 to consider confidential student matters as provided in North Carolina General Statute 143-318.11A1 and North Carolina General Statute 115C-402 and the Family Educational Rights and Privacy Act of 20 United States Code 1232G to consult with the Board of Education attorney and preserve the attorney-client privilege as provided in North Carolina General Statute 143-318.11A3.
Is there a second?
Second.
It has been moved and properly seconded that the Wilson County Board of Education go into closed session to consider confidential personnel matters as provided in North Carolina General Statutes 143-318.11A1 and 6 and 115C-319 through 321, to consider confidential student matters as provided in North Carolina General Statutes 143-318.11A1 and North Carolina General Statutes 115C-402 and the Family Educational Rights and Privacy Act 20, United States Code 1232G, and to consult with the Board of Education attorney and preserve the attorney-client privilege as provided in North Carolina General Statutes 143-318.11A3. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion, let it be known by the sign of aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. Let the record reflect that the motion carries unanimously. We are adjourned to closed session.